Hello, my name is Muhammad Akram bin Muhammad Hafizan, matrix number L21A0025, and today I'm going to present my part in the Risk and Crisis Communication article review, Crisis Communication in Natural Disaster, a Chaos Theory Approach. So, for a simple explanation for the chaos theory is that they did they researched the unpredictability and randomness in a fixed setting instead of the pattern recognition. So I will just jump straight to the presentation. Oh, wait. So wait. Sorry. Group members: Muhammad Taufik Iskandar bin Jono and me myself Muhammad Akram bin Muhammad Hafizat. Right, so the four stages of so I'll start with the four stages of crisis model. It's a prodromal, crisis breakout, chronic, and resolution. So prodromal is the stage where the signs of crisis uh, are starting to be seen, are starting to be recognized. For example, in the contextual journal, the flooding in the Klaten region, signs can be seen when rain has been pouring down non-stop for several hours or several days. For the acute phase, crisis breakout, so water started flowing. Water from the river and the drains started overflowing when the rain don't doesn't stop, and it starts to flood the other areas in the Klaten region. So one recent example is on the 23rd of February 2023, where the trigger for the flooding at the area is heavy rain. So for response stage, this is the stage where the related government agencies or peoples are starting to take action to contain the crisis or to respond against it. So a few government agencies like the TRC, BPBD, and Klaten Regency responded by assessing the situation, coordinating with the other agencies and other bodies, and then urging residents that may be vulnerable to evacuate before their area is affected. So, in the final stage, there is post-crisis resolution. It is an it is basically the aftermath of a crisis. So, usually after flooding, the the activities would be like maybe damage assessments and reparations to buildings that were affected in the flooding. And then next one is the recent communication strategies used. As you can see here, in our opinion, the the model used is the public information model because at the time of the crisis, at the time of the flooding, um, the those information can be only be sent one way to ensure that it is sent out accurately and quickly enough for the residents to get the information. Uh, okay, so the model used here is two-way symmetrical model because because of the frequent flooding in the Klaten region, the agency like BPBD, Klaten Regency, took the initiative to maybe organize in unofficial talks about the potential danger of flooding and maybe how to respond if the flooding happens again. And like it is stated here, okay, so like it is stated here, the two-way symmetrical model here also has a weakness because of the close relationship of the agency members and the local villagers, uh, uh, people would whenever floodings happen, people usually do not tell the others because they assume every one of them assume that the other has heard about the news, and so this will result in maybe one or two people who have not heard about the news and maybe potentially displaced, which feeds into the chaos theory that the researchers were studying. Okay, scale and scope of the damage. Okay, I'll pass this to Taufik Iskandar, and thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Taufik Iskandar bin Jeno. My metric number is L21B0022. I will continue with scale and scope of the damage. The scale of the crisis and damage of the flooding usually range from manageable to a complete disaster. From my observation of the article, the incident is very effective. And then the agencies such as BPBD, they always take a quick action in order to address the problem, resulting in the people trust in them and proven by some of them waiting for the government instruction before moving out. The next is long-term impact of the crisis. The first one is lack of food supply. The villagers receive the packet of rice bit late and make them starving, then have to share food such as rice with other neighbor. Because the villagers need to wait the supply to come uh, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, they always ask for the rice, the packet of the rice earlier at 7 o'clock in the morning, but they still send at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's made the villagers starving in the morning, and they have to ask another neighbor that have rice and share each other that have ingredient and cook some for food. Another than that is lost source of income. The flood have damaged the crops that have been planted by the villagers, which is their source of income. The villagers cannot harvest their crops due to the flood, and the plant cannot survive with the so many amount of water surrounding them, and make the plant die immediately. Immediately. Next is prevent or manage the crisis. The villagers need to be aware of the news from social media and organizations that handle the natural disaster. The organization and the villagers can take one step ahead to prevent the flood with taking a precaution step. Then always clean up rubbish surrounding us like the clogged drain or rubbish in the river that caused the flood. This can make the flow of the waterways at the drain or the rivers become rapid. When the heavy rain come, it will not make the water stuck at just at the one place, because if the water stuck at the one place, the water will be rising and make the flood become worse. Important organization or stakeholder must be aware of weather and surrounding that will become a natural disaster such as flood. So the organization can give information to the resident that live at the place and goes to the safe place for temporary and wait for the flood become better. And lastly, always prepare food and clean water so the villagers not starving and face thirsty during the natural disaster coming, especially the flood. We need to prepare the food and the clean water at early. So after hear the news about the flood, so we not starving at the end. Lesson from the case is always to be prepared and alert to natural disaster that happen around us. If we not take seriously about things that already happened to us, it might affect us so bad in the future. So take a step ahead so that we can plan well to control the crisis before it's too late. Lastly, implication of the article. The organization prepares any information about natural disaster, especially flood, using the telephone or handy talkie, or we call as walkie-talkie. So the villagers always be prepared when the flood is coming. So the people know they have a natural disaster coming at the place after using the gadget, because we will know from the social media, and we will know about the information, and we can take example from BPBD, or known as Badan Penanggulan Bencana Daerah, that aware of the surrounding of the flood area, and the villagers can make a temporary dikes from bamboo and tree from before go to the safe place, because the dike can hold the flood water for temporary. That's all from us, me Taufik and Akram, and thank you for hearing for our presentation.